singing, maybe this is slightly less criminal, like aligned to your work, but maybe not, is singing. It's always someone else's creative vision and someone else's words and someone else's music. I am very much a sort of pawn in the vision of a director and in the musical vision of a conductor and the composer. So I'm actually on the sort of creative hierarchy, like quite low down. Yeah. Whereas a writer, I'm it.
It's
like, if you're judging this show, you're judging me. And like, not to say that there's not a lot of work from so many different angles that goes into creating a book, but in terms of what people are responding to, it's and who takes the sort of creative responsibility, it's the author. And that's a very different experience.
It's a miracle.
And it works.
It's a miracle we even do more. Like, we write more books, like, just because when you think about it, like, objectively, and if I look at like very clinically, facts, pros and cons of it, you wouldn't do it again. Like, why would you put yourself through that?
Yeah, I think I was going to say like childbirth, but I feel like I shouldn't say that because that's not true. But I think that there's something very addictive as well about the process of publishing, that as it's happening, you do want, like, seeing covers for the first time is so exciting. Having like first readers respond or authors read it and respond is so exciting. Like, seeing it in a bookshop, I do, because I guess I did know a second book was going to come out because I sort of entered the publishing industry on a 2-book deal. But I remember when I sort of went through those stages for 28 Questions, already being excited for a future book because it was so cool.
No, it's true, because even though yesterday Monday I started writing my new book, and the first I'm telling to those people now, it's like 1st of September I write a book. So I started writing the first book, and I was like, I just need to write the prologue. I'm a prologue person. I just need to write the prologue. And it went from, I just need to write 500 words. And then it went to, I just need to write 300 words. I just need
the goalpost.
I was shifting the goalpost. I think I wrote 324, and I was like, that is it. That's enough. You've started. All you needed to do was start. And then yesterday, I was like, I need to write chapter 1. So I'm very linear. That's just how my brain. I'm just a very linear writer. Yeah. And I couldn't do it. It was just so hard. And I just thought,
have you planned?
Yeah.
So you've got everything that's going to happen. You've got
Indyana. I will show you my plan. Like,
do it. Put out.
This is like, I have my plan. I have pages of my plan. I know what
you just read that line next to you.
I know what this book is. For listeners who are not watching us, I'm holding up my plan. I know what the story is, but I couldn't get it together yesterday. Like, I went back to writing longhand. I thought, I just need to get words in order, and then you go through those moments of, well, maybe this is it. Maybe I've hit the end. I'm not going to be writing any books. And then I saw my publishers got in touch with me yesterday, and they sent me what did they send me? The trailer for the cover reveal of my book coming out in February, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is what I should write another one. I can write another one. So you move the goalposts, and then you tell yourself you can't do it, but then you have those moments where, you remember why you did it, and that actually you can do it.
I was on a walk with my partner, I think yesterday. Shame, I've been driving her so mad with all of this, like up and down with all the book stuff. But I said to her, actually, I feel like the first book was really just like a passion project, and I didn't know what I was doing, so there was no pressure attached. And the second book is set over 3 days, so it's really tense, but I really only had to write 3 days worth of action, and maybe I'm not capable of writing another book. And she was like, what the hell are you talking about? You've written 2. Like, what more evidence do you need than to but it's those moments of insecurity or doubt, and it is so different. I don't know if you found this as well, because I've obviously never written in a series, but the process of starting something new, like, in a lot of ways feels like starting everything from scratch.
It does, even with a series.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Because anything can happen. Mm-hmm. You're in charge.
Yeah.
Your character could like turn left, right, straight, turn around, jump up, and and I think that sort of blank canvas feeling is so overwhelming sometimes.
But you wouldn't have that as a musician, as a singer, would you? Because it's just you have to familiarize yourself with the song and the music. But other than that, I don't think you're going to be feeling like, can I do this again? Because you can sing, which is a weird thing to say, because you can write.
But I think that I have, lots of people will disagree with me if they are opera singers listening, but you never know. But I have a singing technique that I can pretty much use for all the different repertoire that I sing. Now, musically, I make different choices depending on the repertoire. Like sometimes I will, depending on the language that you're singing in, have to make adjustments. But basically, I studied a singing technique that feels tension-free, and then I apply that to my work. Whereas I think writing in first person versus third person versus writing a book set over 3 days or 4 years or in one place or across many different countries, like they're all almost different techniques. Or I think you could think about it that way. And I'm kind of not interested in repeating. I don't know, probably like a bit of a masochist, but I really enjoy the challenge of, my first book is set over 4 years and the second book is set over 3 days. And the first book's in past tense, the second book's in present tense. I wanted to sort of
stretch yourself,
figure out how tension changes. Exactly. And like innovate innovate within me. Obviously people have written present tense books before, but yeah, I came up with this thing. But it is hard to start a new project. I am empathizing hard.
I know. I appreciate it. Yeah. And I'm sure other people listening who write, like you just, and there's something in your head that says, this should not be hard. Like you've done this before. Like, why are you even having this conversation with yourself? But maybe it's just a process you just have to go through, and it enables you to stretch yourself.
But it is also so satisfying when you like are feeling sort of blocked or you don't know what's coming next, and then you figure out that solution. You sort of figure out where that puzzle piece goes. The satisfaction, it's almost relative to the difficulty. I don't know. I always think about this also when I'm nervous for a performance. Is I know that the more nervous I am, the better I'm going to feel like when we finish, and that sort of rush. So when I'm not nervous at all, I'm like, well, it's just gonna end and I'll go home. But if I'm freaking out, I'm like, oh, but that battle's gonna feel so good.
Is the nerves the same for when the book is coming out, like just before publication day, or is it completely different?
No, it's so different. It's so different. I think because by the time it's published, well, definitely in like literary fiction or sort of what I write in, like I'm not really gonna like. It can be quite anticlimactic. It's like the book appears and you're like, well,
there it is.
There it is. And there's no, and as I say, I've sort of created what I think is at that moment in time, perfect version of this in the way that I will never have with singing. And yeah, singing so many different things can change your daily form is what people talk about. But if I wake up with a sore neck, or I've been a bit ill, or I talked too much or drank too much, everything is like, it's so much less predictable how the performance is going to go than writing, where everything I have control over, I do have like pretty like complete control over.
No, it does. Sense? No, it does make sense. Yeah. It's just amazing. Like before I have these conversations, I never know how these conversations are going to go. Like I have my questions. Like I always have my set of questions that I'm going to ask. But I like it when it flows. But it's interesting just seeing how creativity works in different mediums. Because because a lot of people just think if you're a creative person, you're a creative person. Like if you get nervous about being on the stage, you'll be nervous about writing a book. Right. And no, like your process will be the same, but there's so many different variables and so many different things that make it different.
Right. And I think there's like different kinds of ways of experiencing nerves. Like I think with singing, it's quite like a shot. It's like sort of a cortisol hit. You get filled with adrenaline, your hands shake. Like I don't experience that with books, but I do over a longer period of time have a deep sense of like dread. Like what if this is rubbish, or what if it doesn't, no one reads it, but it's not adrenaline inducing hands shaking. It's sort of like a pit of insecurity.
Which is why I said, if you thought about it objectively, we wouldn't do this because it's insane.
But I think I would probably get nervous in if I was doing an event or even a podcast in like a slightly more similar world to the singing, because there's a sort of there's a time pressure, there's a performance pressure in the moment to say something interesting or sing a certain way, and so that's probably a little bit more similar.
It's funny because when I first started doing events, and everyone just, you'd be fine. You'd be fine. You're used to public speaking. I'm like, but no, it's different. It's completely different. I always say that my audience when I'm doing a trial, it will never be any bigger than 12. It's only 12 people I need to convince and persuade and, follow me down my my path that I'm leading them down. Yeah. It's only 12 people. Minimum it's 1 because it might be just the judge. So it's never going to be more than 12. Whereas, and it's not about me. Even though I always say to the baby lawyers, juries, they watch too much TV. They expect a show, but really it's not about me. It's about it's about the defendant. It's about the witness. That's the show for them. Whereas if I'm on stage and I'm doing a panel, I'm doing an event, it's all about me. It's all about my work, and my audience is, I mean, worst case scenario, it's 3 people in the library because only 3 people turned up, and every writer had that experience, or it is 2,000 people.
Right. Did you ever get nervous? Because I think in my mind, if it's not about you, that could potentially be more nerve inducing in the way that if I'm singing, I remember singing with somebody else for their like music school exam, and I'm like, oh, if I mess this up, I mess things up for them. Like, is that like, did you get nervous in that way?
It's not nerve, it's just this really, well, I suppose it is nerves because I don't want to be there. And I think you feel that more of like when I've covered other people's cases, and I've covered their cases in the Court of Appeal, because I'm like, this is not my appeal, this is not my case. But if I mess it up, it's kind of on me, and I'm responsible for, I need to do a good job for the person I've covered for. And also in the Court of Appeal, it's just horrible. I don't like it. There's 3 judges just looking down, literally they're looking down on you. Like, no. And asking you questions. And I'm like, I just want to get in and get out. I don't want to be any longer than I have to. But when it's also I suppose confidence and time and how long you've been doing something and experience.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've never studied writing in the way that I've studied singing, whereas you have studied writing. So I guess you would have a more of a curriculum in your head on which to judge writing, discuss.
No, I think my course was the way my MA was different to how I've seen other MAs, where it's very much a let's look at themes and let's look at I don't know, just more academic, whereas ours was the way I did just felt a bit more creative, if that makes sense. It just flowed a bit more natural. It didn't feel like I needed to, I don't know, sit down and reread all of Austen before I could write a chapter. It didn't feel like that.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
When you got into publishing, finally got into publishing, actually, how did your family respond? Because they've been with you on this opera musical journey, and now it's India's on the phone going, I need you to buy my book.
I'm trying to remember how my family responded. I think I had sent my mum my mum and I are very close, and I've sent her a lot of versions of the book that she had read and we'd chatted about. And my grandma is also a therapist.
Oh, so both your mum and your gran?
I know. I had no chance. No. My grandma's a couples still working as a couples counselor, which is a slightly different sort of version of therapy than my mum. And really, really interesting if you write books. Like, we've done interviews where I've pretended to be a character, and my gran has asked me questions.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
It's so cool. I'm so lucky. It was
that's
so fun.
I'm going to apologise for cutting you. You ever watched, is it Couples Therapy on BBC? Is it on BBC Two?
I don't know, but I know.
Yeah, and it's just, I look at them like my clients, like, what?
Yeah. What? I mean, there was a TV show, State of the Union. Did you ever hear? It was like a 15-minute TV show quite a few years ago. And
I did.
You would only see what happened in the sort of 15 minutes of that therapy session, and you had to put. I loved that. But yes, no, I used that. I used conversations with my grandma to figure out character or intention, or because I think for me the most important. This is true. Well, an important thing while writing is that you can kind of understand where every single character is coming from. Not even because I've written both of the first 2 books in first person, so obviously you're in the head of the protagonist. But everyone else's behavior needs to make sense to them. And as a writer, you need to be in the character of the protagonist who doesn't understand why people are acting the way they are. But you also need to be the sort of overlooking party who knows what and that chatting with my gran about every other character's intentions was super helpful in that way. But my family were just okay, sure.
What are you just doing today?
Yeah, I think they were more, my family read a lot, and in the way that they don't really listen to classical music. So I think that they were almost more excited about the writing stuff because it was a world that they were familiar with, felt more glamorous to them in a way, although sort of the opera hall maybe. Yeah. Because they, I guess they would put those sorts of creatives on a kind of pedestal in the way that they don't care about classical music at all.
I need to stop saying weird today, but it's just really so interesting about how creativity is perceived in different mediums, but also people who aren't, I'm saying creative in air quotes, who aren't creative themselves, where they place it, like on a scale.
Right. Yeah. Well, exactly. Like I've definitely been at sort of parties where I will speak to somebody who is a like mathematician or a teacher or something and be so curious and as to like what their world is, because it's so different to mine. And that is, and I've had people approach me with the same curiosity. Oh my God, being an opera singer or writer, like what does that involve? And there are some people where it's so foreign to them that the conversation kind of dies. They're like,
oh really? Okay.
I'm like, okay, well,
bye.
Good. Like, tell me more about you.
Let me tell you about my plumbing issue. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it is. Yeah, you're right. It is interesting because I think basically either people find it really exciting and glamorous, or so different from their experience that they actually either don't care or don't know how to engage.
Yeah. I think going back to having those sessions with your grandmother, and I always known, for me, especially when it comes to writing stories and writing first person, my preference is always third person. If I'm writing a novel, I can do first person, and it's not like I can't write first person, I can, but I feel more comfortable just doing it for a short story, because I feel like I can't be in one person's head for over like 80,000 words. I just feel like it's too much. I mean, that's just me. I need to stretch myself to do it. I've trying to do it with this book, but I didn't even last a prologue.
So. That's funny. So that was in first person. I think that is one of the things where being a singer, or like sort of having worked in acting, helps, because I have done, maybe not as long as it takes to write a book, but I have been in a character's head for extended periods of time before and just had to exist in that way, if that makes sense. And that is a similar experience to first person, even though I made up the one character and someone else made up the singing character. But I'm used to like emoting as not myself, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this clip from the Conversation podcast. If you'd like to see the full episode, you can watch it right now here on my channel. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you'd like to catch up on more conversations, you'll find them linked on your screen now. And you can also listen to the podcast on your favourite platform. See you there. Bye.